Welcome to another exciting episode of Reality Check Radio. I'm your host, Tracy Yates. And this week we are doing part 3 of Raiders of the Unknown Ark. And this week's episode is titled 6G Internet and the Hive-Mind System. By now, everyone has heard about the 5G internet that is being pushed upon us all. What if I told you that 5G is just a stepping stone towards the elite's endgame, which is 6G? Even President Donald Trump can be quoted as saying that he'd like to see 6G in the United States alongside 5G as soon as possible. I don't believe that Trump has some kind of sinister agenda here. I believe that Trump is simply concerned that the USA stays ahead of the global technological race. That being said, I would say be careful what you ask for. 6G literally stands for 6 Genesis. This is the name of the company that is in charge of all the research involving a future 6G internet connection. Their goal is to have this technology up and running by 2030. The following is an excerpt from iot.eetimes.com. The Center for Converged Terahertz Communications and Sensing is already working on the initial 6G specifications. They expect that the next generation of wireless connectivity will provide speeds of 1 to 100 gigabytes to the end user, and it's capable of 100 to 1,000 simultaneous independently modulated beams of effectively providing speeds in the tens of terabytes per second. Apart from providing precision localization to a fraction of an inch, supplementing GPS, 6G imaging techniques will identify any person or moving object. This intelligent, immersive infrastructure will support low-latency virtual reality, augmented reality, and seamless telepresence. And the technologists of Finland's University of Oulu recently announced that the funding of 6 Genesis, an 8-year research program to conceptualize 6G under the auspices of the university's Center for Wireless Communications. They then provide a link to a 5-minute YouTube video on their page that is titled 6 Genesis Vision for 2030 and allows the viewer to see the future 6G edition. So why should any of this matter to you? It matters because a 6G internet is needed in order to support a future quantum internet connection. By now, many of you have heard of Elon Musk's Neuralink and his future plans for this. Neuralink provides a human-to-AI web-based interface via a microchip that has flexible electrode threads that are implanted into the brain by a neurosurgical robot. This could lead to a future of superhuman intelligence, according to Musk. Coincidentally, Elon Musk's target date for a fully functional Neuralink is also 2030. Elon plans to save all humanity from the AI singularity that he believes could result in a Terminator-like scenario. Elon believes in the popular phrase, if you can't beat them, then join them. This is where things get very interesting and also a bit disconcerting. Through Neuralink, Elon plans on connecting all the brains of mankind into the 6G cloud that is centered at the Quantum Beast computer. This could very well be what most Christians think of as the mark of the beast, as mentioned in Revelation 13:16. And I realize that a lot of people think the mark of the beast is related to this coronavirus that we have going around right now, and some kind of vaccination that they will mandate be given for this virus. And, yeah, that could be true, but I seriously doubt it, because according to the research, their targeted date for all this is 2030. And according to my research, what they're doing now is a dry run in order to gather data that they will need to know exactly how the masses will react when they're subjected to fear through this threat of this virus. They need to know how controllable the masses are in order to guarantee the success of their New World Order plan, which is scheduled for 2030. Moving on. A few years ago, there was a Christian gentleman who was investigating this beast computer he made several YouTube videos that provided great details about this beast computer and those who had worked directly with this computer. The witnesses who had come forward and mentioned that this computer knew more about them than they knew about themselves. Several of the people who had been in direct contact with this beast computer decided to seek professional therapy in order to cope with the repercussions that come from being exposed to an AI that knows every detail of your life. I would provide more information regarding this individual and his research, but sadly, all his videos have been removed from YouTube, and he is now serving a lengthy prison sentence based on false, trumped-up charges. The quantum beast computer has been said to be able to process more data in a second than all 7.5 billion human minds that currently exist on Earth. The problem lies in the fact that there has never been an internet connection that could keep up with the quantum beast computer. Enter 6G. A 6G connection would be able to process all the data that is required to turn Elon Musk's Neuralink into a reality. The minds of everyone who accepts this Neuralink will be uploaded into the 6G cloud that will be centered at the quantum beast computer. This begs the question, what exactly is the quantum beast computer, and how does this all play out pertaining to these end times that we live in? There has been disinformation spread on the internet pertaining to the quantum beast computer. It is said that a sophisticated computer in Brussels, Belgium was identified as the beast computer sometime around 1973. This computer is said to be 3 stories tall and capable of tracking and buying the selling activities of every person on Earth. This story can be traced back to an author named Joe Muzzer and his book, which is titled Behold a Pale Horse, not to be confused with the Behold a Pale Horse that was written by Milton William Cooper and published in 1991. This computer was a fictional part of Muzzer's story. Because of this, people tend to dismiss the idea of a beast computer offhand without any further investigation. However, as I mentioned above, there is a man who is currently serving a lengthy prison sentence for bringing a computer that is called the Beast into the public eye. Though I can't recall his name, I did watch these videos before they were removed from YouTube. The description of this beast computer, given by the whistleblowers who are willing to talk, is in no way resembles the computer that is mentioned in Joe Muzzer's Behold the Pale Horse. Well, Joe's book was published in the early 70s. The beast computer mentioned in the Scrub YouTube videos was supposedly created sometime after the year 2000. Joe's computer is described as being 3 stories tall, but the computer mentioned on YouTube was described as being in a single-story room and somewhat resembling what most can relate to as a D-Wave computer. This computer was connected to several interlinked large screens that were beyond HD in clarity and used to give the beast computer the ability to communicate as well as play back captured scenes from the lives of any given person. So it would appear that we have two computers, it would appear we have 2 accounts of 2 very different computers, one fictional and one real, that were given the same name by chance, in my opinion. The fact that these YouTube videos were scrubbed and the fact that this gentleman is now in prison gives some validity to his account and the existence of a very real beast computer. This brings us back to the 6G connection. As I previously stated, 6G literally stands for 6 Genesis. As Christians, we know that Genesis 6 is the days of Noah, where all flesh on earth was corrupted. Jesus told us in Matthew 24:37, "But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be." I also find it interesting that the book of Daniel mentions clay, or mankind, the dust of the earth, being mixed with iron, or one could say AI technology. Daniel 2:43. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. So you are probably asking yourself, how does this quantum beast computer play into all this? According to the writings of the late 33rd degree Freemason Manly P. Hall, as well as the predictions of Edgar Cayce, the Great Pyramid of Giza will be restored, and the completion of the now missing capstone will usher in what they call the Christ, but you and I know as the Antichrist. It seems that this future capstone will be where the quantum beast computer is relocated. This will be the center of the Hive-Mind system, hence making it all-seeing, as depicted on the back of every U.S. dollar bill, where we see the all-seeing eye of Horus capping the pyramid. Now the million-dollar question is, why would the capstone position on the Great Pyramid be the ideal location for the quantum beast computer? The Great Pyramid is located at the center of the Earth's landmass. Several highly intelligent people who have studied the Great Pyramid have concluded that this was once the center of the worldwide wireless power grid. Other studies have even gone so far as to demonstrate that the pyramidal structures may be psychotronic generators that work together with consciousness and They may be psychotronic generators that work together with consciousness and a form of energy to produce advantageous effects on matter. Sorry, that was kind of a tongue twister. Nikola Tesla was one of these highly intelligent people that believed the Great Pyramid was a wireless power generator. Using similar scientific principles, this belief led Tesla to build the Wardenclyffe Tower. This structure was intended to provide wireless power that could be used by homes around the world. Tesla also suspected that this energy could carry and transmit radio frequency information, much like high-speed internet today. So it isn't any wonder that the modern day elite would want to take advantage of this by merging ancient advanced technology with the future 6G internet connection. Things get very interesting when we consider that a seemingly chance snowball effect in finances that included the stock market crash in 1901, as well as Tesla's biggest backer, J.P. Morgan, pulling out, forced Tesla to give up his project and return home in 1905. It was almost like there was a divine intervention that brought this all to a halt. To add further emphasis to this line of reasoning, the Egyptian government planned to recap the Great Pyramid to celebrate and usher in the new millennium. However, on December 16, 1999, the plan was canceled. Technological support proved that the new 30-foot cap could be lowered onto the pyramid by helicopter without causing any damage, but the officials stated that they were concerned by the potential for acts of terrorism. However, others wondered if the Egyptian government secretly feared reactivating the ancient powers of the pyramid and either raising the vibrations of all life on Earth or awakening some electromagnetic force. Therefore, this project was also brought to a halt. Could this be the same type of divine intervention that caused the Lord to put a stop to the construction of the Tower of Babel? Let's take a look at what the Bible says regarding the Tower of Babel. No. Excuse me, my ferret was making some background noise there. Genesis 11:6, King James Version. And the Lord said, Behold, the people is one, and they have all one language, and this they begin to do. And now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. Could the same logic apply to a future Hive-Mind system that is attained through 6G and the optimal positioning of the beast computer that would then allow Elon's Neuralink to become a reality for all who take this chip. This would unite the people with one language through this Hive-Mind system, and it would seem that nothing they imagine to do at this point would be restrained from them. Before you consider this idea as too far-fetched, I want you to consider the elite's third goal as it is seen written out on the Georgia Guidestones. Unite humanity with a living new language. Those of you who have studied this in depth have likely concluded that the heavenly Jerusalem is actually the shape of a pyramid. The pyramid shape perfectly keeps all the dimensions mentioned in Revelation 21:16 and also gives a good explanation as to why Jesus is the head or capstone position and the body of this structure makes up the church. Satan often tries to mirror the things of the Lord in order to deceive humanity. Now I will throw something out there that most of you may be unaware of. The Great Pyramid of Giza is the earthly replica of the heavenly Jerusalem. The body or pillar of the Great Pyramid represents all humanity in our current earth age who take the mark of the beast. The body of the heavenly Jerusalem represents the saints or all that receive Jesus as their Savior. Isaiah 19 mentions the Great Pyramid. The capstone of the Great Pyramid has been missing for all recorded history. This means the word pillar, as mentioned in Isaiah 19, King James Version, is referring to the body of the Great Pyramid, or the structure below the capstone. Isaiah 19:19, in that day shall there be an altar to the Lord in the midst of the land of Egypt, and a pillar at the border thereof to the Lord. Now let's take a look at what Revelation 3:12 says regarding the saints being a pillar or the body of the heavenly Jerusalem. Revelation 3:12, King James Version. Him that overcometh will I make a pillar in the temple of my God, and he shall go no more out. And I will write upon him the name of my God, and the name of the city of my God, which is New Jerusalem, which cometh down out of heaven from my God. And I will write upon him my new name. If this is correct, then the Antichrist would literally be assuming the position of Christ as the head or capstone of the temple by taking the capstone position on the earthly replica of the heavenly pyramid that we observe as the all-seeing eye of Horus. 2 Thessalonians 2:4, King James Version, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Now we have come full circle for those of you who have ears to hear and eyes to see. This quantum beast computer system will merge ancient advanced technology with modern technology using a 6G connection. The apex of this union will be the capstone of the Great Pyramid. This will be the center of the Hive-Mind connection, or what Elon calls Neuralink. The elite have seen this coming for several years, as is depicted on the back of every US dollar bill, where the capstone is shown as the all-seeing eye of Horus. Horus is simply Osiris reincarnated, and Osiris is just another name for Lucifer. Do your research. Now we can understand why this capstone is called the all-seeing eye. This will be where the beast computer is located, which in turn will be where the collective consciousness or hive mind is centered, hence making the beast system all-seeing. Revelation 17:13, King James Version. These have one mind, and they shall give their power and authority to the beast. Well, that concludes another episode of Reality Check Radio. But there's more coming next week, and this is exciting stuff, folks. So I hope you will tune in for next week's Reality Check Radio. Thanks for joining me for this week. And until next week comes about, be safe and God bless.